for example, my business, I really wanted my business to be six figures, wouldn't have to worry about it, just so I could help people everywhere, wouldn't be in debt anymore. That's what I wanted. We think it has to happen a certain way. I thought I'd have to build these funnels and I'd have to blah, blah, blah. And that's what I was focused on. Meanwhile, I'm in the shower one day and I get this random idea to go live on TikTok. What? I would never go live on the internet when I had that come in. No way would I ever do that. Absolutely mortified, especially not with like a full face of makeup and whatever. But I thought, oh my goodness, that must be inspired action. What's the worst thing that's going to happen to me if I press that live button? I don't know, dreadful embarrassment for 5 seconds, whatever. So I put a robe on and I pressed the button. And I was like, who the heck am I going to talk to? What am I even going to talk about? I was so nervous. I was shaking, but I just started blabbering on about interesting things that most people don't know. And the next day I had over 50,000 followers and I was booked for 3 to 6 months. And it's like, how fast could I have just been like, oh, that's ridiculous, and just gone about my day? Like, it happens. And so it's things like that that just, I can catch it. If it's something I feel like I can just fluff off, that's a key. Could be the little get a cup of water thing. Or B, is it something that I know I wouldn't have thought of myself? Because a lot of people get stuck in that how, and a true manifestation, according to all laws, science, and metaphysical as well, it has to, must, and can only come from the unknown. And so you could sit there for hours and days on end thinking about how you're going to achieve anything, whether it be health or a bank account, and you're never going to be able to come up with how it actually happens, because everything that I've seen happen for my clients as well as myself, I could have sat forever thinking, and we would never have guessed how it actually happened. It's always this random, like, what? Like, it's almost unbelievable how things happen.
I think that's part of the fun of it. Is like, it's the analogy I've always heard. It's like Christmas.
Yeah.
And again, this is, again, if you celebrate Christmas, but for Christmas, for the idea is that, you ask for a gift and sometimes you get it, you don't get it, but it's that anticipation of getting the present in the morning. You're revved up. Like, how's this going to happen? You don't know how it's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to get that, but that's that feeling that you get, excuse me, in the morning. And I always kind of like that idea, is that, there is that anticipation, like, I kind of like, okay, how's this going to happen? In that some ways, like, where's it going to come from, that I get that kind of excitement, and trying to, like, not to get the how. Cause I've been very much stuck in the how for so many, how in the hell is this going to happen? There's no way this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it's these random things that get going. And it's like, oh shit, how's that going to happen? And it's one thing I've noticed even about the podcast is, like, now I used to struggle, like, how am I going to get guests? How am I going to get this guest? How am I going to get that guest? And now I'm just kind of relaxing. I don't stress about it. And then all of a sudden I'm getting these emails, and I'm getting emails from publishers and publicists now. It's like, I don't even have to do anything. I just, okay, yeah, that person sounds good. It's great. Let's book that person in. Yeah. So it is a pretty cool idea that you can get into it, and you get into that flow and start noticing it more and more. But I really think the idea was, it's about repetition.
Yes.
So let's talk about the idea about repetition. So is it more just mind body, or I should say thought feeling, or is it a mind body spirit idea where it's a combination of stuff? Because you have to get the body feeling good too. So let's say I'm not feeling well, I'm overweight, I've got high blood pressure, almost diabetic, all these different things. I got all these physical problems. Is it the first thing to get feeling physically better, and that will help with the mental, how I'm mentally thinking, and that'll help with the feeling?
No, it's definitely mental first.
Mental first. All right. So please explain that.
Yeah, the body could be in total disarray. And so I had a client who was told they would never walk again. And their body, they couldn't even feel, really. Like, it wasn't even logical to think of how this person was going to do this by feeling physically. So it's always mental, emotional, because your emotions are the vibration. And so we don't have to feel good in our bodies at all. But can we teach our bodies by thinking of what a future would be like? So can we, think and feel? It's definitely mental, physical, and spiritual in the end, but it's the feeling within your body. So, and by that, I mean the emotion in your body. We have gut feelings, and it's the same way I teach about making a decision. If there's a decision that your logic is really loud about, and it's a big decision in your life, and you can't decide neither here nor there, can you just get quiet for a moment and feel into your body? And are you getting a rise in energy? You might feel those butterflies and, those kinds of feelings. Or are you feeling that gut wrenching, that same thing as the yearning? It's that lowering of energy, and it just feels physically bad. Our body can give us physical feelings in terms of our emotions, but it's definitely mental first. And then spiritual is the aspect of God/the universe working with us.
Okay.
So it has to be all three.
Has to be all three. Yeah. Because I was always curious like that, because even if you think about the medical model, when you go in for a diagnosis or anything else, it's always physical, chemical, emotional, right? So they're trying to get you well. So if you get one working well, it helps you do the other one. So if you can physically get a feeling a little bit better, let's say again, you had a few pounds, you're not feeling well about how your appearance is. So you take some of that and you start working with the physical body. So now I've lost a couple of pounds. I feel pretty good about myself, right? So it builds on that repetition. And a lot of people talk about, getting the body first, because the body is, or say feelings are the language of the body, and thoughts are the, excuse me, what's the thought I was thinking of? I can't even think now, but no, thoughts are the language of the brain, right?
Yes.
So they're trying to get that situated, right? So if you can get the body, because it's all about the feelings, right? From my understanding, right? It's that feeling, right? So if you can get it, because if you're not in your body, because we've always heard that expression, like, I'm not in my body. And I was probably see with your clients, like, I don't feel, I'm not in, I'm not in tune with what's happening in my body.
Yeah.
They don't recognize that. So how do we get in tuned with our body?
So one thing to know is that your cells are constantly always responding to your emotions. So they've done studies where, let's just talk about weight loss because it's an easy example, but I mean this for anything physical. But let's say these people are walking around every time they pass a reflection, ugh, I'm fat, or I can't lose weight. Nothing works for me. And they're just feeling their cells, their metabolism goes, okay, slows right down. But then you get someone that has lost that pound or so, and they think, oh, the more you notice, the more you notice. So the more you're noticing improvement, the more you improve. But when you have an uninterrupted, so when you get a good enough at practicing that you have an uninterrupted feeling of gratitude about anything whatsoever, you're not thinking about your body, but that's really what you want to improve, but you feel good about something else all of a sudden, the physical cells will begin to respond within 16 seconds. So science has shown. And so they're constantly listening. But to get back into the body, I always tell people, how much time do you spend with yourself? How much time do you spend loving your body? Because most people are completely at odds with their body. They have autoimmune disease, the body's their enemy. They have cancer, they hate this cancer, obviously. And so the body is, yeah. And so it's many people. I work with, my cancer patients all the time. And we are at such odds with our body, and weight loss too. They're overweight, they hate their bodies. And so you need to build a good relationship with your body. And it's how much time do we spend loving our bodies?